It's Tuesday, October 10th. From West End, it's the Music Room. I'm Sam Simon. Hispanic Heritage Month is in full swing, so let's start with a Hispanic Heritage Month moment. Here's our pre-K class performing the echo song, Bate Bate Chocolate.
Bate, bate, chocolate. Bate, bate, chocolate. Bate, bate, chocolate. Bate, bate, chocolate. Bate, bate, chocolate. Bate, bate, chocolate. Bate, bate, chocolate. Bate, bate, chocolate. Ahora el bates. Let's break it down. 1, 2, 3, chop. 1, 2, 3, pop. 1, 2, 3, la. 1, 2, 3, get. Bate, bate, chocolate. 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 Ahora el bates. Let's break it down. 1, 2, 3, chop. 1, 2, 3, pop. 1, 2, 3, la. 1, 2, 3, get.
In kindergarten, we have been learning about instruments. We have learned that there are 3 ways one can play a classroom percussion instrument.
Strike, shake, straight.
Let's hear kindergarten perform Starlight, Starbright as they strike, shake, and scrape some instrument.
Starlight, starlight, red starlight, tonight. With starlight, have a wish tonight.
3rd grade had a performance recently. Students performed their own original composition based on the story Rumpelstiltskin. It was a fun project because students composed all their own lyrics and melodies. We'll listen to their finished product in case you missed the performance. It's the story of the strange little man who shows up and asks the queen, "Say my name."
There once was a poor miller who wished to make his mark with the king. When at last he found himself in the king's presence, he said, "I have a daughter who can spin straw into gold."
Hello, your majesty, my daughter has a gift. She can spin straw into gold for talented is she.
The king put the miller's daughter in a room filled with straw and ordered her to spin it into gold by the next morning. The poor girl was in despair as the hours sped on. She buried her face in her apron and began to weep.
I don't know how to do this. The king will be so mad. If I do not spin this straw, then I will be so sad.
The door suddenly opened and a little man entered. "What are all these tears for?" asked he. "I have to spin the straw into gold," sobbed the girl, and I do not know how to do it." "What will you give me," said the little man, "if I do it for you?" The miller's daughter unfastened the gold chain around her neck and handed it to him. To her surprise, he seated himself in front of the spinning wheel and began to spin the straw.
I shall spin this into gold, then I turn. Right now it is just plain straw, but soon it will be gold.
Early the next morning, the king came into the room. When he saw the gold, he was surprised and delighted. He filled a bigger room with straw and again ordered the miller's daughter to spin the straw into gold by the next morning.
I don't know how to do this. The king will be so mad. If I do not spin this straw, then I will be so sad.
But as before, the little man appeared at midnight. "What will you give me this time?" he demanded. The little girl offered him the gold ring from her finger. Again, the man sat down at the spinning wheel and began to spin the straw into gold.
I shall spin this into gold, then I turn, right
put the miller's daughter into an even bigger room filled with straw. If you spin all the straw in this room into gold, I promise to marry you, he told her.
I don't know how to do this. The king will be so mad. If I do not spin this straw, then I will be so sad.
As midnight struck, the little man appeared to her again. I have nothing left to give you, the girl sobbed. Then give me your promise that when you become queen, you will hand me your firstborn child. Thinking she had nothing to lose, the girl agreed. The little man sat down at the spinning wheel and began to spin.
I shall spin this into gold. Then I turn. Right now it is just plain straw, but soon it will be gold.
At daybreak the king arrived. Tomorrow we shall wed, he cried. The miller's daughter married the king a year later she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. So many things happened to her that she has long ago forgotten her promise to the little man. It was therefore to her surprise and horror when he arrived one day. When the little man reminded the queen of her promise, she began to weep, and the little man was moved to pity. Very well, said he. I'll give you 3 days in which to discover my name. If by then you know what it is, you can keep the child. The queen lay awake all night, puzzling over names until the little man appeared to her in the morning.
I wonder if your name is Star, or if it's Dominique, or probably it's David, or maybe it's Jack.
At each name, the little man shook his head and grinned. After he had gone, the queen called in her counselors, and they told her other names that she had not thought of. The little man appeared again on the second day.
I wonder if your name is Luke, or if it's Abraham, or probably it's Christian, or maybe it is Jace.
At each name, the little man shook his head and grinned. After he had gone, the queen sent out a royal message telling him to go far beyond the hills in search of new names. When at last the messenger returned, he gave his report. I traveled many miles on my way home. I came upon a little house in a dense forest. A fire burned in front of it, and round the fire pranced the oddest little man I have ever seen. As he hopped on one foot to the other, he sang the song.
Tomorrow I live, today I take. Soon the child is mine to take. Oh, what love to win this game. Rumpelstiltskin is my name.
That's it, cried the queen. Shortly afterward, the little man made his third visit.
I wonder if your name is John, or if it's Juliet, or probably it's Liam, or is it Rumpelstiltskin?
The little man shook with rage. Then he shrieked, you know, and vanished in a cloud of smoke.
I guess the name, my child will still be mine. Ha ha ha, I guess the name, my child will still be mine.
And that's it for today's show. Join us again in November. New episodes are available the second Tuesday of every month. Subscribe and they will show up in your feed automatically. Doom Spiro Spiro, and thanks for listening.